Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm back with another NBA video for you guys, and in this video, one of my friends, Noah, sent me his list of his top 15 point guards in the league currently, just from last season. So this won't count, like Steph Curry and Kyrie Irving, just because they had injury problems and didn't really play many games. So I'll probably put this list somewhere for you guys on the screen to see. But I have a podcast with one of my other friends, Aiden, where we talk about basketball, NBA related things mostly. I'll put a link in the description if anyone's interested. But I just wanted to look at this list and maybe like point out some things that I disagree with or things that I would have changed. My full list, along with my other friend Aiden's, will be in the podcast. We did an episode last week where we ranked our top 15 point guards. But I just wanted to do this video on this channel looking at my friend Noah's list and sort of talking about things that I maybe disagree with and why. So let's just get right into it. And the first thing I see here that I might have a little problem with is that Malcolm Brogdon is ranked higher than D'Angelo Russell and Jamal Murray. And while Malcolm Brogdon did have a very good season last year with the Pacers, he just wasn't quite, he's just not quite on the level. He had a very solid season, but, he had some nagging injuries that stayed with him. And obviously this Pacers team had a lot of moving pieces. I think more than half of our team was new players, which is kind of crazy. But he did have a very good season, and he's part of the reason the Pacers are where they are right now in the standings. But D'Angelo Russell he had a lot better season statistically, and obviously the Warriors didn't win any games with that. But when you look at the team he had around him, I think if you swapped D'Angelo Russell and Malcolm Brogdon, D'Angelo Russell would shine even more. With the Warriors, he averaged about 24, 6, and 4 maybe. And with the Timberwolves, his stats were a little down, but Karl Anthony Towns also didn't really play any of those games. So he was, again, left with a team that really wasn't going to win any games. Malik Beasley did play well once he got traded there, but, that's just one player that can only do so much. So I think that's one thing I would change. And Jamal Murray, he's sort of the second star, I guess, for the Nuggets. He's not too much of a star, but he's the Robin to Jokic's Batman. He's the perfect complementary piece just because he doesn't need to play make and he can just focus on scoring, which is what he does best because Jokic is such a good playmaker and he's probably their point center, I guess. I mean, he doesn't bring the ball up, but he's so good at spacing the floor. His court vision's elite. And so Jamal Murray really doesn't have to focus on any of that, and he can just focus on scoring. So when you're looking at just pure point guard aspects, I'd have Brogdon higher just because he plays more like a point guard. But when it's just talking about overall game, I'd still have Jamal Murray higher than him just because, he's one of the biggest reasons for the Nuggets being so high in the standings right now. And statistically, I'd also still take him even if he's not necessarily a quote-unquote pure point guard. The next big thing that I see on this list that I'd probably change is he has Trae Young at 5, and he has Simmons and Westbrook tied for 4 and 5, I guess, so I guess he's 6. But I still personally think that's really high for Trae Young. He has him over guys like Chris Paul, Kemba Walker, and Kyle Lowry. And I know statistically Trae Young is there. His offensive game, if we were going just on offense, he'd probably be, top 3, top 4. But when you look at overall statistics and overall team success, I can't really have him that high. And I know on my personal list, I had him, I believe, 8th. I had him below Chris Paul and Kemba Walker. I guess that's all he would really need to do on this list. And the reason for that is obviously we know Trae Young. Statistically, he's there. Offensively, he's one of the most complete players in the league. He can make really well. He can shoot from 40 feet. He can finish at the rim pretty well. Him and John Collins are going to be a threat in the future. That Hawks team is really young right now, though, and they just, can't win any games, even if he puts up, 40 points per game. And another problem for that is, again, his statistical offense is there, but his defense is horrible. And, he is an undersized guard, and he still has to probably adjust into the league. Typically, point guards do take a little while for that. Offensively, again, he clicked almost instantly. The first half of his rookie season wasn't great, but he clicked pretty quickly. But he's still got to figure out that defense. And, maybe it's on the Hawks to surround him with better defenders, but they did get Cam Reddish and DeAndre Hunter. But just his defense, he's probably one of the worst defenders, if not the worst defender in the entire league. And that's one of the main reasons why the Hawks haven't won more games. Because obviously his team isn't amazing. They're still young and growing, but they might not be one of the worst teams in the league if Trae Young was able to play even just slightly below average defense would be all right for him just because of his statistical numbers, but it's not slightly below average. His defense is again, one of the worst in the entire league. So it's kind of hard to have him so high on my list, especially when you look at players like Kemba, who maybe he's not so much of a great defender, but he's obviously better than Trae Young. And in Brad Stevens' system, you don't really require a point guard to be a great defender when you have other defenders around you. And obviously the Celtics are just so much better of a team than the Hawks right now. And the reason I have Chris Paul is because he is one of the better defenders, maybe not like in terms of on ball, but he can get rips, he can steal the ball pretty well. And even just in terms of regular perimeter defense, he's a solid point guard. And obviously the Thunder are doing so well, so far beyond expectations that it's kind of hard to not consider, Chris Paul may not be the most statistically crazy player. His stats will never really jump out to you, but he's so fundamentally sound and his court vision is so great that even though this season he's averaging, I don't even think he's averaging 8 assists. He might be, but I don't have the numbers with me right now. But even though his assist numbers have dropped, his points have dropped a little bit, his impact on the court is just so great. He makes everyone around him a better player, and as a result, that team has won so many games because of his leadership. So that's why I'd have him over Trae Young too. And obviously this isn't a knock on Trae Young. He's still a great player. He's going to get better. It's just going to take some more time. I just think as of right now, I wouldn't have him as my 5th or 6th point guard in the league right now just because of those reasons. Other than that, though, I think this list is pretty solid. I don't see too many things that I personally disagree with. Again, if you want my full list, go check out the podcast. I'll put it in the description. But overall, this is a pretty solid list. There were just a few things that I saw that were sort of red flags, I guess, like the Trae Young thing and the Malcolm Brogdon thing. That was really the only 2 things that I thought they were kind of ridiculous, personally. And I've talked to him about it. I'm not roasting him for the first time. He knows my opinions on the list, and he's one of my friends, so he's not going to take it too seriously anyway. But we're going to do a shooting guards list next week because the podcast episode for the top 15 shooting guards will be coming out this Sunday. So just be sure to check that out. That'll give you more context for this list, I guess. And I'll probably have an NBA hot takes video coming out soon as well. And like, comment, subscribe. I usually upload rap videos, basketball videos, and anything else that I find interesting. So if you're interested in that, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.